Well, as fears of a third wave of COVID-19 rise, the Federated Hospitality Association of South Africa says the hospitality industry will not survive another bout of the pandemic, adding that further lockdowns will spell an end for many businesses. South Africa had 2.4 million arrivals in the year to end March 2020, but arrivals were virtually wiped out when the lockdown commenced in March of last year. With that, thousands of hotels, restaurants and tourist resorts went on life support, reaching out for state-funded assistance. Well, joining us to discuss the prospects of tourism if a third wave hits is the CEO of Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Chifiwa Chiwengwa. A very good afternoon to you and thank you so much for joining us. Chifiwa, can you hear me?
Northwest.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much.
Johannesburg.
Chifiwa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We are now live on air. Can you just talk to us firstly about the concerns that you have as an industry regarding a looming third wave, which could possibly hit the country as we enter winter?
Thank you very much for having me. The concerns around the third wave, have been with us for quite some time. And having seen what's going on in, Northern Hemisphere, where many countries, that we follow similar patterns to them are going into the third wave, i.e. your Germany, your UK, and many other European countries. So for us, it's a big concern. And the fact that, it looks like, we may be heading that direction. If we head to that direction, it simply means that if we apply the same rules that were applied when we were on the first and second wave, there will be further devastation within the tourism, travel, and hospitality sector of this economy. And it will have more impact on job losses and more impact on the income of these companies. So it is something that we are concerned about, and we have been having various discussions as the Tourism Business Council of South Africa through, the NetLec, channel and many other channels together with the Minister of Tourism, the DG, to say, how do we prepare better for this, third wave, and also how not to repeat the mistakes that we've made in the first and second wave that have devastated the businesses. But of course, we shouldn't do that in the expense of lives.
Well, can you share some of those insights that you might have been able to come up with during those extensive discussions?
Look, for us, one of the things that we should never go back to, is using the same tools that we've used, in the past. I.e., we've always used the tools of, restricting mobility, which meant that people could not cross provinces. This was on the first wave. And on the second wave, we used the tools of, closure of beaches and closure of parks, which is not something that we should be using because, there is a social distancing, within this space. So we need to look at things that have impacted tourism. And those two are just some of the examples, including curfew, including the sale of alcohol. It does impact the entire tourism value chain, which includes hospitality. And when we think of the third wave, we've got to think of better ways of, restricting or limiting, the spread of the virus without destroying the businesses and the livelihoods that are involved in it. We can't use the same tools that we've used last year. We should have learned something between last year and now, because it's going to be a year, next week since we've been in lockdown. So we've got to find better ways, of doing so. And we don't believe that it should include those things of closure of the beaches, closure of parks, restricting alcohol sales. Of course, curfew is something that we can discuss in terms of how that can be dealt with. But we need to have a better and a smarter way, of ensuring that, we continue with business, of course, not on a normal levels. But also, we don't have this situation whereby people are sitting at home and they're earning nothing, because it also impacts on people, livelihoods and also the social status within the community, and also, their mental health as well.
Now, Chifiwa, looking at the upcoming Easter period, I know that it's normally a very busy time for the tourism industry at large, and even in Mpumalanga this weekend, being a long weekend, has received a lot of people coming in to just relax and unwind. I believe that the industry was actually looking forward to an uptick in business come Easter, but because herd immunity has not yet been achieved and the vaccine rollout has been delayed, that's actually dealt the industry a bit of a blow.
No, look, absolutely. Look, we do believe that, from the industry point of view, we have been operating for quite a number of months, and we have not been a source of any super spreading, within the value chain of the tourism industry. And as we speak, I'm sitting in the Northwest Province in, Ivory Tree Lodge, and, a lot of people are here and they're enjoying their times, and they're doing so in a very socially distanced way, and the protocols are being observed, amongst, the people that are here and also the staff that works here. And the same is being applied across the country, whereby, a whole lot more people are traveling. It's a long weekend. They want to unwind. And we've been doing so even in December and, previous months. And we have not been found wanting in terms of making sure that the protocols are followed. So it's important that, when we make decisions for the upcoming Easter, we recognize that the tourism industry and its value chain has not been found wanting in terms of, following protocols. Yes, we've had problems with some of the restaurants that have not been following protocols. We've dealt with those problems. We will continue to deal with them to make sure that, there is full compliance within those establishments. We are looking forward to Easter weekend. It is one of the weekends that's gonna help us with recovery in the tourism sector, and we are looking forward to trade and to make sure that more people come back to work. It's a catalyst for recovery for the tourism sector. So it has to continue. We have to go on. I think we have to address the issue of Easter, where the problem lies. If the problems are with gatherings, let's deal with gatherings. If it's religious gathering, let's deal with religious gatherings. And I know that, they do form part of the, travel value chain, because anyone who travel outside of their place of residence and they sleep somewhere else, they are traveling, they are doing tourism, as a definition by the UNWTO. So it's important that we deal with where we believe the problem is going to be, instead of blanket approach that will close businesses and devastate many other people, that have just returned to work. So we've got to do this in a very careful way.
Well, let's leave it there for this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Chifiwa Chiwengwa, who is the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa.